This is your 4-minute warning.
So, welcome to the podcast. We are the others. I'm Carl.
And I'm Andrew. I've got my marshmallows ready for you.
Okay. Where do we go from here?
So, what is Ghostbusters and why is it important to you?
Ghostbusters, the original film, one of the best films ever.
Right, okay.
It's hilarious and very organically hilarious as well. Just they're not doing jokes. It's not overly slapstick or anything like that. It's just a very organic. The people that were in it were just naturally quite funny. You got Bill Murray, just like really sarcastic in it, just very dry sense of humor. Dan Aykroyd, you got Harold Ramis in it. Like the writers, just everything came together. It was perfect. And then they did Ghostbusters 2, which if you're a fan of Ghostbusters 1, you're going to like Ghostbusters 2 anyway. Yeah, it's not as good. Yeah, it looks the effects were a little bit
See,
rubbish.
the thing that always annoyed me about Ghostbusters 2 was the fact that they, in an age like now,
Yeah.
if they made those films now,
Yeah.
right, okay, and they set it, so it's kind of like, right, there's a bunch of Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
They're running around New York.
Yeah.
Obviously, everybody has a mobile phone. Everybody has the internet. It'll be recorded.
Yeah.
But then in Ghostbusters 2, it was kind of like, oh, yeah, that stuff was fake, which is obviously people would say, oh, it was fake and so on, which is legit. But some people in Ghostbusters 2 kind of forgot everything that actually happened. So when an event happened like it did in the first one, a lot of people kind of remember a giant marshmallow.
Yeah, you'd think.
So on. But in the second one, it's kind of like, oh, yeah, they were has-beens. It was all lied. But a lot of people actually on the street and actually saw it with their own eyes.
Well, I mean, yeah, I know. I get where you're coming from.
And obviously,
But it's still funny.
Oh, yeah.
It's still just really funny.
The painting for the second one was freaky.
Well, I have the painting, not the original, obviously.
Yeah.
I have a print of the painting.
Just don't stare at it, Carl.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
He stares at
He's
me.
currently transfixed with it and he keeps looking at it.
I obviously worship that.
You can tell.
But yeah, so Ghostbusters 2, I like it. I know it's not as good as Ghostbusters 1, but I like it.
Yeah.
It's just for the same reasons that I like the first one.
Ghostbusters 3.
Which apparently was the game, essentially. But as you know,
Oh, yeah.
I'm not a big gamer.
So Ghostbusters, so the actual original plot for Ghostbusters 3 was the Ghostbusters go to hell or...
It's Hell on Earth.
Hell on Earth, yeah, when they actually go through a portal and so on.
Hellraiser 3 is also Hell on Earth.
The game was very much like that. Obviously, it was one of the original scripts, and they actually...
Didn't they pretty much at the time classed that as
that's how they did it. The game was really, really good, and you obviously had all the voices. The original actors did all the voices to it. Then you got Ghostbusters 4 with the ladies.
Well, it's not Ghostbusters 4. This is my problem with it. It's just it was a reboot, and why would you reboot that? Nobody was asking for that at all. Nobody was asking for a reboot, whether it was a female-led cast or another male-led cast or a mixture of the two. I didn't need rebooting, and any fans of the first two films would, in my opinion, would agree that shouldn't have been rebooted. So then they've kind of retconned that so that that's just out on its own. That's just something that happened.
I think the only good thing about that film was probably Chris Hemsworth. He was really good in it.
Yeah.
Everything else was just...
It made no sense to me. It didn't feel like the original Ghostbusters, which is where Afterlife succeeded. Because even though it was outside of New York, it got some of the same feels, the same vibes.
It was the sentimentalness to it.
And they saw Harold Ramis off in style. And it
was a very kind of like it's a haunted barn and kind of darker than the original Ghostbusters.
I liked it. It wasn't as funny as the original Ghostbusters. No. And actually there weren't that many ghosts.
No.
As a segue into a future trilogy, the continuation of it, I thought it was really good. I didn't like Frozen Empire as much.
There was some good bits in it.
There was some good bits in it. There was some funny bits. I think the first part that Bill Murray's in, I thought was funny. When he came in towards the end, it just seemed like
they didn't all need to be.
No, they didn't.
In the it
seemed unnecessary.
The way I was expecting it to be was this. They passed the torch. In the last one, they passed the torch, and Winston obviously has the money, and then
I didn't mind that.
He got the place reopened, and that was the restart of the whole Ghostbusters thing. Then they just shoehorned everybody else into it.
Yeah, it seemed like they just were trying to throw everything in. There was no need for it, and there wasn't anything for anybody to do.
No.
It just wasn't necessary.
At the end of it, they were just all stood there, pointing, the gun things at it. And
I think it got probably, for me, funnier than Afterlife.
Yes.
But Afterlife was more cohesive as an idea.
Yeah, Afterlife is it was sentimental. It was all about this nostalgia, your memories. It's like, oh yeah, do you remember that? Yeah, that's really nice. It's warm.
I mean, what would you give? Afterlife, I would give a 7 out of 10.
7. I saw it twice in the cinema.
Reasonable. Yeah,
which is rare.
And it was good to see them back.
Yeah,
it was good, although they weren't in it much. But I actually think they probably got the balance right, because then they tried to give them too much to do didn't work. So
yeah, it was kind of like they were passing the torch, and then Frozen Empire was right. We're gonna hold the torch while you're also holding the torch.
yeah.
Just in case you burn yourself.
Yeah.
And you can't, don't do too much, because it's, we need to still do what we know what we're doing.
6 out of 10 for me for Frozen Empire. 7 for Afterlife. I mean, the original, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. And I know Ghostbusters 2. It's difficult because I was a kid when I watched it.
I liked the second one better than the first one growing up.
Yeah, no, well, I think I still preferred the first, but
yeah, I think the whole, Statue of Liberty walking down the street and
yeah.
The second one seemed a lot more fun.
Yeah.
And sinister.
It seemed darker, didn't it, a little bit? I'd still give the second one, for me, if I didn't have the nostalgia mark there, it would probably be a 7 out of 10.
Yes.
But it's an 8 out of 10 for me.
Yeah. The second one still looks really good.
Right, okay.
The special effects and stuff.
I'll be honest, I haven't seen it in quite a while.
Yeah, I saw it a couple of months ago. It's still there.
Yeah.
It didn't make as much money as they thought it would do.
Frozen Empire.
Frozen Empire, right. Yeah. And they have created a whole separate company, I think it's Ghost Ops or something like it. It's called a production company for all the Ghostbusters stuff, where they're making more games and separate things for it all. So they are trying to actually, create a big Marvel empire with it all.
Right, I get it.
Which obviously didn't make a lot of money, which I think they were a bit disappointed from.
Right, okay. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing now. It's the reason. It's the same reason that the Prometheus to Covenant, and then we're not going to get any more of that because
it's owned by Sony. It's Columbia. It's owned by.
Okay.
Kind of desperate for hits at the moment.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, they've not been doing too well. They do Venom, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all the other Spider
Morbius. All that.
Morphin Time.
Yeah. I must admit, I don't find those films good at all.
No.
And Venom 1, it was all right. Venom 2, not really.
Yeah.
I won't be going out to watch Venom 3.
So hopefully there will be another Spider-Man, Ghostbusters film, which I don't think they're going to they can't carry it on with the same young cast, because obviously by the time they make the next one, that young cast is going to be a lot older.
Yeah,
so they're going to probably age out of the roles which they've got at the moment. So they kind of need to branch out a bit more. It can't be set in New York again. Obviously, New York from the first and the second.
Do you know what? But I get the dilemma with it, because New York setting was such a huge.
Yeah, there's a lot of.
It's almost like a separate character.
Yeah, it's New York. The way they always do New York is it makes New York a bit more gothic, and New York is the story and so on. The way I was hoping they were going to do this was it was going to be okay. We're setting up the Ghostbusters again. We're going to create like a franchise of Ghostbusters teams, and which is what I thought they were going to do. But then in the film, it shows all these secret Ghostbuster labs, and which kind of ruins that. I thought they were going to build on that, but it was there all along.
If it was a secret lab as well, how come she can just walk in whenever she wants?
Exactly, no security.
Yeah, there's a lot of plot holes in that last film. But anyway.
But hopefully there'll be more.
Yeah, I think they'll do. If they don't do another film, I think they'll end up doing a series.
Oh yeah,
seems to be the way to go. If your films aren't doing
TV
so well,
series, that'll be quite a good, Ghost of the Week.
Yeah,
kind of thing. The thing is with TV budgets nowadays and special effects, they can do that very, very easily.
Golden age, isn't it?
And that'd be really good. The whole recruitment of the actual team and building the team up, and
I think you can probably difficult to care about the characters when you've got an hour and a half.
Yes.
Whereas that's where TV really works. Is you can have 10 hours.
Yeah.
And then you really don't care about the characters.
Ghostbusters TV series, obviously it's happening now. We've already announced it. So, yeah, it'll be on a streaming service near you.
You heard it here first?
Yeah, heard it here first.
We are the others.
Okay, so we're just going to ring our friend Rob and see if this works.
Hello.
Hello, Rob.
Hey, how's it going?
Hi, Rob. You're live on the podcast, Do Not Swear. What's your opinion on the first Ghostbusters? What's your a quick review?
Oh, I don't know. It was a good film. It was excellent. It's original, isn't it? It's not like a cheap slapstick comedy. It's just, an all-round, it's spooky, it's scary, it's got, it's obviously building a massive world, isn't it? Even though it is just basically in New York, the missus is opening the door now and is just checking and going, who are you talking to? Don't talk to anybody. I don't talk to anyone, apparently. I'm live on a podcast, apparently. He's like, okay. Yeah, no, it's a great film. It's like when, and you can tell it when they did the whole, and not to go too much into like the whole women Ghostbusters thing or anything, but that was just a straight up slapstick comedy, and it didn't have that vibe.
No, it was a different vibe, different humour. Yeah, I completely agree.
So, it's its own thing, I think.
What is your quick opinion on House of the Dragon compared to Game of Thrones?
Season 1 was excellent, and Season 2 is just completely just like, I give up. I don't actually want to watch the next season now because of how it's just sort of tailed off into nothingness, and there wasn't anything particularly great. It seemed like so much happened in Season 1 of House of the Dragon. Season 2 is just about like it's been going, it did something in the future.
I agree with you to agree there. To a degree, it meandered and then just ended. Like, I don't understand how you can end it like
it's like they kind of ran out of budget and they wanted to do for next week.
And it's the fact that we've waited 2 years for it as well, though.
Yeah. And it's going to be another 2 years again.
Exactly. So I was bothered, enough to watch it 2 years later after the last season because it was so good. But after this season, I'm probably going to forget about it in 2 years' time and just go, no, it wasn't that great. So I can't,
It was like, I think they must have run out of budget because there was 8 episodes in this season, whereas there was 10 in the original series. And it was like they needed 2 more episodes to finish the story of the season 2. But
there was a writer's strike, but they can't include that because they carried on producing the TV series during the writer's strike because of most of it was filmed in the UK,
right?
Which is different rules from America. Yeah, so they carried on.
Yeah, right.
I was a late adopter to Game of Thrones as well, but which is probably different because I ended up binge watching like 6 seasons, maybe 7, and so I didn't have that long to wait. From then until the final season.
What did you think?
I viewed them both completely differently. I didn't have this year-long wait between each series of Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Did you rate Game of Thrones better than House of the Dragon?
They're different things, aren't they?
Yeah.
Was it 8 seasons or 7?
8.
But you had 8 seasons to enjoy this whole world. And like I say, this game, House of the Dragon season 1 looked like it was going to do something different.
Yeah, I think the thing with the time jump that they did in the first season of House of Dragon, kind of like when they changed actors, I was like, I really wanted to carry on with the original actors because they were great.
But I think the cast they've got is spot on. I just think the writing in season 2 wasn't
great as well, though.
Yeah,
so I think I was really like, what are they doing? Oh no, and then it really worked.
Yeah, it did. I thought so.
It really did.
Yeah, but they're only doing 4 seasons of House of Dragon, and then the story's gone.
Right. There's another series in that world coming out though. I think they were going to do one called Snow, which was a continuation.
They're not doing that anymore.
They're not doing that at the minute. This is like a Knight's Tale.
Yeah, it's a Knight's Tale. I think it's only like 4 episodes.
Oh, really? So it's just like a mini series.
The thing is, it's kind of ripping off the film A Knight's Tale.
Right.
It's about like a bottom person and how he goes and starts going into tournaments and then becomes a knight and so on, which is exactly the same as the Heath Ledger film.
Right. Oh, okay. When you say a bottom person,
like lowly, from flea bottom kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay.
I really do think that, like, I've not read any of the books, obviously, but if they'd have done like 3 seasons of House of the Dragon, that's how it feels like it should have gone. Because they've got enough spin-offs coming out to not have to milk it. Was it on 3 and just, made that, bumped up this season and bumped up next season, it could have been epic.
Yeah, it did.
I feel like they've dragged it out a bit too much.
Yeah, I agree.
Probably
it did feel a little bit filler, I thought. Yeah.
Thank you, Rob. I'll probably get you into next week's podcast as well.
Yeah.
See you later. Bye.
See ya.
This podcast is definitely not sponsored by iBalloons. iBalloons all work for mad psychiatrists. Meow. Well, the new Rings of Power series starts soon. Did you watch the first one?
I watched probably 3/4 of the way through the first season. There's like 2 episodes I need to finish.
Right.
Is it worth it?
Why did you? Yeah, it is. It's slow. I found it really slow. And I don't know. I think because you're wanting to get back into that world that you saw in the films, and it is a little bit different from that. And the pace is obviously a little bit different because the film had to do it in 3 hours.
So obviously anyone listening doesn't know what Rings of Power is. The Lord of the Rings TV prequel series on Amazon, which cost them, $1 billion for the first season?
I think so. Although that included buying the rights, which I think were 200
quid.
200 new pence.
Yes.
So I think, this next series should have cost a little bit less to make. That's a lot of money to spend on.
Oh, yeah, it's a lot of money. That's like more than what I probably think all 5 of the Avatar films are actually going to cost.
I'm not so sure that it's worked. Don't know many people that watched it.
I think the main problem was it started at the same time as the first season of House of Dragon.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, there's only so much oldie worldy, sordy worldy
type stuff.
And fantasy stuff like that I can actually do at the same time.
Well, and you might be right with that because I didn't do them at the same time. I watched House of the Dragon when it was on, and then I went back and watched Rings of Power after.
Which is probably why I gave up. I've got 2 episodes left to watch, but I do need to get back into it. But when does season 2 start?
I think the next 3 or 4 weeks. I think.
Right.
Yeah, it's not long now.
Cool. So obviously that's on Amazon Prime, Prime Video. And if you do watch it on Prime Video, also on Prime Music is our podcast, which you're already listening to. So obviously that's a little bit of an ad there for it.
That's an irrelevant segue.
Yes, it's very irrelevant if you already listen to this. But if you're not listening to this right now, go and listen to our podcast, Prime Podcasts.
Yeah, if you're not listening to this, listen to this.
Yes. I briefly mentioned Avatar. So the D23 conference, which is the big Disney conference, was last weekend.
Right.
So James Cameron was there doing his thing.
Right, okay.
And he showed the new, not the new trailer, no, just a little bit of an artwork and the new name for the next Avatar film.
Yeah, is Fire and
Ash.
Fire and Ash.
Apparently there's a whole thing about it's being the elements. Right. So obviously the last one was water. This one's fire. The next one apparently is earth because they do go to Earth.
Oh,
apparently.
How do you feel about that?
I don't know how they're going to fit them in the spaceship. They are quite tall.
They are.
Yeah, it's kind of like Alien 4 all over again.
Yeah.
Fire and Ash, there's a really cool logo. I'm actually showing Carl right now.
Yeah,
that's a logo, Carl.
Fair enough.
There's some fire.
He's changed the font from his original.
Yeah.
What font was he using for the first?
Papyrus,
that was it.
Papyrus. Coming to a film soon. So yeah, Fire and Ash, apparently it's supposed to be about the volcano avatars, or the Na'vi, as they're actually called.
Yeah.
And instead of obviously the other films are all about humans and the Na'vi fighting, the next one is supposed to be an internal war on the planet Pandora.
Right, okay.
And all the different tribes actually fighting each other in Fire and Ash.
What did you think to the last Avatar?
It was good, but we'll do that in another podcast.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Stop going off on tangents, Carl. So that one comes out. The thing on Twitter says, just announced at D23 our title for the next Avatar film, Avatar Fire and Ash. Get ready to journey back to Pandora in theatres December 19, 2025. It's not a long way.
It is. I'll think about watching it.
Yeah, I will. I'm invested. I don't even remember the last one very much. It was good.
It gives me a chance to dust off the 3D glasses.
That was announced. They also announced some Star Wars news.
Okay.
So
I'm interested in this.
The next Star Wars film coming is called The Mandalorian and Grogu.
A dreadful title.
That's just the title.
Yeah, awful.
I think it's about Grogu and the Mandalorian.
It could be. I get the sense from the title that people have just stopped trying.
Yeah, it's just kind of like, so we know what it is, and that's called marketing.
Yeah.
Because they're going to sell a lot of toys.
Yeah, that's probably what it's...
So apparently that's the next one. It's supposed to be about the Battle of Mandalore.
Okay.
So if you've been watching any of the show in the last season where it's all about getting to Mandalore, which I didn't really care about. I preferred it when it was small stories, when it was kind of like a Wild West kind of, he's a bounty hunter do a bit of bounty hunting.
I don't know. I didn't mind it, actually. I didn't mind.
Yeah. I really like Boba Fett's story.
Really?
No.
No. I also did not.
No.
I did not.
I don't think anybody did. I think midway when they just had the Mandalorian appear, it's kind of like, oh, great, he's back.
Yeah, he's back.
Thank God for that.
We're all invested after 2 seasons of The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
We invested in... I thought it was just a little bit...
Yeah.
It was irrelevant. It was the series nobody was asking for.
If they did if they did gangsters in the Portugaga, whatever his name is, Jabba the Hutt. Yeah. If they did about that would be quite cool.
Yeah, I think the Boba Fett story from back the time of the original trilogy. Yeah, that
before
would be
he fell
interesting.
Into the Sarlacc pit.
But yeah.
I
don't think we needed one after. He could have been left dead.
Yeah, exactly. Also, they confirmed the return of Andor Season 2, which we knew was coming back anyway.
Yeah. I really liked Season 1.
Season 1 was brilliant. Some of the best Rogue One, best, in my opinion, the best Star Wars film. But
it's up there with Empire. Definitely.
Yeah, it's up there with Alien 3.
And Alien 3.
And Alien 3. So they confirmed, obviously, Season 2, each episode is going to be take place over 4 years. Yeah. So each episode is going to do a time jump gradually to get all the way to Rogue One.
Got you.
And obviously K2SO is back. So it's probably going to tell the story of how obviously he was captured and reprogrammed, which will be quite cool.
You think Andy Serkis will be coming back? I think his character will be.
Well, I don't know. He might be busy with Gollum, searching for him.
Well, that's true.
If they can ever find him. I wonder if they do find him.
Well, I think we know that's
another story.
Time.
That's another story, another
get
podcast.
On about the gripes.
If you don't know, they're actually doing another Lord of the Rings film directed by Andy Serkis, who played Gollum, called The Search for Gollum, which they find him in the end. Spoilers. So there are also other Star Wars news. There's a new trailer for the Star Wars Skeleton Crew.
Yes, with Jude Law.
Yeah,
I have seen that.
It's if you imagine The Goonies, if you're old enough to remember that, great film. It's kind of like that. It's a bunch of kids and they kind of find a spaceship and they go on an adventure, kind of a bit like Star Trek Prodigy.
I've only seen the trailer once, and I'm sure I saw. Correct me if I'm wrong. There's like normal suburban houses.
Oh yeah,
in it. What?
Yeah, it starts like E.T., where it's like a cul-de-sac in E.T. Then all of a sudden they find a spaceship and then they go on this adventure.
Are we supposed to believe that somebody also builds bungalows in a suburbia on another planet that's going to be the same?
Well, all the billions and billions of planets out there, there's someone's got to have a Grange Park. So yeah, the trailer actually looks good. It looks better than Ahsoka, which is another conversation. So that's kind of it, really. They've also released some more information about stuff that's going on in the Disney parks. The most important thing is that they're expanding Avengers Campus in California Adventure in Disneyland.
Okay.
You don't know what I'm talking about, Carl, do you?
No, there's some sort of Disneyland.
Yeah. It's the Marvel area of the theme park.
Okay.
So at the moment, there's the Spider-Man ride, which is quite cool, but not a lot there. And they're going to be building a Avengers ride, which is all about King Thanos. So King Thanos is
purple chin,
a big purple chin dude, Mr. Ballsack. I'm going to have to cut that out. Yeah, so he is a variant of Thanos who won.
Right. Okay.
And he invades the multiverse and travels through the holes through the universe and so on. And then all the Avengers have to get together to try and help them. And you are an Avenger on the ride. And it's supposed to go through different eras and different times. Each time you go on it, it's supposed to be slightly different as well.
Right. Okay.
So that looks quite cool, actually, from some of the images that they put out there for it. There's also news about Tron Ares.
Yeah, 9 Inch Nails doing the music for it.
Yeah. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, but they took a chance on Tron Legacy with Daft Punk doing it, and I quite
great
liked
soundtrack.
It. Yeah, I thought
great
it was
soundtrack.
Really good.
Yeah,
could be. I don't know. I'll wait and hear.
Yeah.
I'll wait and hear.
Do you want to mention about the cast?
There's, I believe, Jared Leto is.
Yeah, he was on stage, but they didn't really talk about him.
I think that's for the best. I think it's just my personal opinion. There's going to be people out there who like Jared Leto. I don't dislike him, but I think he certainly seems to have disappeared up his own arse. I think that's how I feel about him.
I like him in one film, and that's Lord of War with Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, I've seen.
Where he was his brother addicted to cocaine. He was good in that.
I quite liked him in Blade Runner 2049. I thought he was all right. He was only a bit part.
Yeah. But I imagine that his character in Tron is going to be a bit like him. But apparently the story is he's a rogue program that obviously realizes that there's the world out there and escapes and goes on a rampage. Olivia Munn's not back, even though the last one ended with her leaving the world and going on a rampage and so on. So we'll see. We'll see. No trailer, no more information about that, but it was just, that's all they mentioned.
I actually thought Tron Legacy, I thought the soundtrack was better than the film.
Oh yeah,
I quite enjoyed the film.
Yeah,
once it got going, but
I think some of the really problems with the film is they tried to do some of the special effects didn't work, like the Jeff Bridges with the young version of him, and it was before they kind of sorted that technology out. Yeah. So apart from that, really,
was there any more news on the other Star Wars film, which is, I believe, it's been written by Stephen Knight, who writes and directs Peaky Blinders, and I can't remember who's directing it, but I think it's the continuation of Rey's story. I know that's on the cards. I know it's been written at the minute, but obviously Mandalorian and Grogu's going to come out.
There wasn't really much about that.
Oh,
so obviously the big thing this week is Alien Romulus is out.
Yes, will definitely be.
If you're listening to this on Saturday, the day the podcast comes out, Alien came out yesterday.
So Alien Romulus is already out,
and you've probably already seen it.
Yeah. Tune in later for news on that.
Yeah, some of the reviews say it's quite good.
I like the trailer. I thought the trailer made it look really good. Yeah. So I'm positive.
Yeah. We will talk about that in next week's episode.
Yes,
possibly.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's it for this week's news, and that's it for this week's podcast. So I'm Andrew,
and I'm still Carl,
and thanks for listening.